Welcome guys to the Dead History channel. In today's issue, I will share 2 true, terrifying stories about Halloween nights that were horrifying. Fairy tales remind us that some Halloween traditions should have remained a secret. But before we start, please subscribe and don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Let me know where you are watching my videos from. Thank you to all of you. So, let's get started. Story 1. The mask that wouldn't come off. It happened in a quiet suburban neighborhood in 2014. Halloween night was always a big deal there. Kids flooded the streets, adults handed out candy, and the whole place smelled like caramel and cold air. But that year, one house stood out more than the rest. It wasn't decorated with pumpkins or fake cobwebs, just a single red porch light glowing faintly through the mist. That house belonged to a man named Mr. Dyer. He'd moved there just 6 months earlier, alone. No one knew much about him. He rarely left the house during the day, and when he did, it was usually at odd hours. The neighbors whispered that he worked the night shift somewhere downtown. Others thought he was simply antisocial, but the truth was far stranger. Around 7 p.m. that Halloween night, a group of teens, Mark, Lisa, Devin, and Trent, decided to prank the new guy. They called themselves the Night Squad, known for recording Halloween dares and posting them online. This time, the challenge was simple. Walk into Dyer's porch, knock on the door, and take a selfie wearing one of his masks. No one really knew if he had any. It was just an internet rumor that the guy collected creepy masks. They approached the house, laughing, phones out, costumes rustling in the wind. Mark whispered, "Okay, quick in, quick out. One picture, we go viral." Lisa hesitated. "What if he calls the cops?" "He won't," Trent grinned. "It's Halloween. Everyone's wearing masks." The porch creaked as they stepped on it. The red light made their faces look bloodstained. Devin reached for the doorknob, and to everyone's surprise, it turned easily. The door was unlocked. Inside was darkness. A smell hit them immediately, something between damp wood and iron. They turned on their phone flashlights, illuminating walls covered in masks, dozens of them. Some looked handmade, others old and cracked. They weren't just rubber or plastic. They looked real, skin-toned, detailed, textured. "Too real," Lisa muttered. "Dude, this is insane." Devin took a step forward, brushing against one hanging mask. Its eye sockets were hollow. He swore he saw something move behind it, like a twitch. "Okay, I got it," Mark said nervously, holding his phone up. Everyone smiled. A sound came from the hallway, soft dragging like something heavy being pulled along the floor. "Mr. Dyer," Lisa called out. "We're just trick-or-treating." No answer, only that dragging sound. "Now closer," Trent whispered. "Let's get out." But Mark wasn't done. He spotted a mask hanging at the center of the wall. Pure white, no eyes, no mouth. It almost seemed to breathe. Something about it pulled him in. He reached out and slipped it over his face. The moment it touched his skin, the air seemed to tighten. The others gasped. Mark stumbled back, clutching at his neck. "It's stuck. I can't. It's heat." Clawed at it, but the mask wouldn't come off. It clung to him like wet fabric, molding into his features. The others tried to pull it, but it was as if it had fused with his flesh. Mark screamed a muffled, distorted sound that didn't sound human anymore. Then the dragging stopped. Out of the hallway stepped Mr. Dyer. He was tall, wearing a long brown coat, and no face, just smooth skin where his eyes and mouth should have been. He pointed a gloved hand at Mark, his finger trembling like he was conducting some silent ritual. Mark fell to the floor, convulsing. When the others looked again, the mask was gone, and Mark's face had changed. It was smooth, featureless, just like Dyer's. Lisa screamed. Devin grabbed her arm, yanking her toward the door, but it slammed shut on its own. The red light outside flickered, pulsing like a heartbeat. Dyer bent down, whispering something that none of them could understand. The air felt heavy, as if it was pushing down on their lungs. When the door finally burst open and they stumbled out, Mark was gone. Police searched for weeks, but found nothing. Not a trace. Just one new mask hanging on Dyer's wall when they finally searched his house. Pale white, with eyes that seemed almost alive. The next morning, the police were everywhere. Yellow tape fluttered across Mr. Dyer's yard, but the man himself was gone. His house was empty, stripped bare except for one wall, where that single white mask hung. It was tagged as evidence, sealed in a plastic bag, and taken to the station. But something strange happened that night. The officer assigned to the case, Sergeant Miller, decided to take another look at the mask after hours. He'd been on the force 20 years, and he'd seen his share of strange things. But something about that mask made his stomach twist. He laid it on the table under a dim desk lamp. Its surface looked smooth at first glance, but under the light he noticed faint ridges, like veins beneath translucent skin. And then, a blink. So quick he thought he imagined it. He rubbed his eyes, leaned closer, and froze. The mask wasn't where he'd left it. It had shifted slightly, but undeniably. Now, it faced him directly. Miller felt a tremor run down his spine. He called out to the other officer on duty, but there was no response. The station was silent. Even the hum of the vending machine had stopped. He picked up the mask, planning to lock it away, but the texture under his fingers was wrong. It wasn't latex or plastic. It was warm, and when he tried to drop it, it clung to his hand like something alive. A faint whisper filled the room, a voice that wasn't human, layered, echoing like dozens, speaking in unison. It said, "You wore the face you deserved." The lights flickered out. When they came back, the desk was empty. Miller was gone. Only the mask remained, now shaped with new, sharper features, and faintly smiling. A week later, the town held a memorial for Mark and the missing officer. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said Dyer was part of a cult. Others swore they saw him wandering the woods at night. But the most unsettling story came from Lisa, who hadn't spoken since that night. She was hospitalized after a breakdown, muttering the same words over and over. He collects faces. He wears them until they stop fitting. When doctors finally let her speak, she told them what really happened after they escaped. She said Dyer didn't disappear. He followed them. Every night for the next few days, they saw him across the street. Always still. Always watching. When they tried to confront him, he vanished. And then, one by one, her friends began to change. Devin woke up one morning with strange marks on his face, like fingerprints burned into his skin. Trent stopped answering his phone, and when Lisa went to his house, she found his front door wide open. No sign of a struggle, just a smell of iron and rot. On the kitchen table, a mask sat waiting. That same white mask. By the time the police arrived, Lisa was screaming that it was breathing. They laughed it off as trauma, until the mask was logged into evidence, and the officer who handled it went missing too. 3 years later, the Dyer house still stands, boarded up, but the red porch light flickers every Halloween night. Local kids dare each other to knock on the door. Most never make it past the gate. But one year, a pair of college students filming a Halloween documentary decided to break in. The footage they recovered, what little survived, showed them walking into the same hallway, the same wall of masks. Except now there were dozens more. Each one bore familiar faces. Teens, officers, neighbors, and at the center hung the white one, perfectly smooth. The video ends with the camera dropping to the floor, the lens facing upward. For a split second before the feed cuts out, a figure appears, tall, coat draped to the floor, wearing a new face. A young man's face. Mark's. Some say the house was finally torn down last year. Others claim it wasn't, that the foundation was too deep, the basement too wide. Whatever the truth is, people who live nearby still report strange noises around Halloween. Whispers, scraping sounds, and the faint hum of someone breathing just beyond the window. And every year, without fail, someone new goes missing. The police always find the same thing left behind. A pale mask, eyes still warm, like it was just taken off. So if you ever come across a house with a red porch light this Halloween, think twice before stepping inside, because some masks aren't meant to be worn. they're meant to choose you. End of story 1. 4 days, Jack didn't speak to anyone. He locked himself in his room, replaying every second from that night. The sound of the humming, the teeth. Tyler's voice on the phone. His parents thought it was just a Halloween prank gone wrong, but Jack knew better. He stopped going out after dark, stopped answering calls. The police never found Tyler. Not a shoe, not a bone, not a trace. They said maybe he ran away. Maybe he was drunk. But Jack remembered the eyes behind that porcelain mask, and the voice that whispered his name. A week later, Jack woke up to the sound of his phone buzzing again. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something inside him, that mix of fear and guilt, made him swipe. He lifted the phone to his ear. At first, there was only static. Then the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate, and a faint, familiar voice said, "You forgot your candy." Jack's phone dropped from his hand. He didn't sleep that night. By morning, he decided to leave town forever. He stuffed a backpack, grabbed his keys, and drove until the city lights disappeared behind him. But somewhere along the empty highway, he saw a figure standing by the roadside, holding a pumpkin bucket. The same cracked mask, the same smile. He never made it out of the county. Locals still tell the story. Every Halloween night, when the fog rolls in, someone hears humming near the old road, a tune that starts soft, then grows closer, and if you follow it, you never come back. Story 2. It happened a few towns over, in a quiet suburban neighborhood where nothing bad ever happened until that Halloween. Sarah was 16, a babysitter working for the Millers, a sweet old couple who adored decorating their house every October. They had a huge front yard with scarecrows, glowing pumpkins, and fake tombstones that read R.I.P. Uncle Joe. Kids loved it. Parents took pictures, and on Halloween night, Sarah's job was simple. Hand out candy, keep the lights on, and watch the baby monitor while the Millers were at their costume party. It was an easy gig, or so she thought. Around 8 p.m., the last group of trick-or-treaters came and went. The streets outside grew quieter, the laughter fading into the distance. Sarah sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone, listening to the faint baby monitor beside her. A steady, rhythmic breathing came through the speaker. Then a soft click, then silence. She frowned, tapped the monitor, and waited. Static hissed back. She sighed and stood up, heading upstairs to check on baby Emma. The hallway was long and narrow, lined with family portraits. But halfway up the stairs, Sarah noticed something strange. One of the portraits was missing. The nails still hung there, but the frame was gone. The baby's door was slightly open. A warm orange glow from the nightlight spilled into the hall. She pushed the door open slowly. The crib was empty. The window was open, curtains fluttering in the wind. Sarah's heart stopped. She rushed to the crib. Empty blankets. No baby. "Emma," she whispered, panic rising in her throat. Then the baby monitor crackled again. But this time, it wasn't breathing. It was a voice. "Trick or treat," it said. In a low, rasping whisper, "Let's play a game." Sarah spun around. The closet door was half open. Something moved inside. She took one step closer, and the closet door slammed shut. She screamed and stumbled backward. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out completely. Only the orange glow of the nightlight remained, faint and trembling. Somewhere downstairs, the front door creaked open. She grabbed her phone, its screen lighting up her face, but before she could dial, the baby monitor spoke again. "Don't leave yet, Sarah." Her name. It said her name. She dropped the phone, trembling. The voice began humming softly, the same nursery rhyme she'd sung to the baby earlier. But now, it sounded distorted, like someone mimicking her from memory. Then came a laugh, low, deep, and right behind her. Sarah Feroce. Her breath hitched as the laugh echoed across the room. Quiet, playful, and terribly human. She turned around in slow motion, every muscle in her body stiff with terror. But the room was empty. Only the curtains swayed in the cold wind. Then, the baby monitor whispered again. Closer now. Behind. You. Sarah lunged for the light switch, flicking it on. Nothing. The power was dead. Her phone flashlight shook in her trembling hand as she pointed it toward the crib. There was something new lying where the baby had been. A mask. A cheap plastic pumpkin mask, the kind you buy at a dollar store, but cracked down the middle. Its inside stained with something dark. She picked it up with shaken fingers. It was warm. Downstairs, something heavy fell, like a chair tipping over. Then, footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps, moving toward the staircase. Sarah backed into the corner, clutching her phone, whispering to herself. It's a prank. It's just a prank. But then the monitor spoke one last time. You shouldn't have left me alone. The voice wasn't human anymore. It was deeper, layered, like several voices speaking at once. And in the faint glow from her phone, Sarah saw a shadow spill across the hallway floor. Long, distorted, like something crawling rather than walking. She bolted, raced down the stairs 2 at a time, the old wood screaming beneath her. The front door was still open. She could see the porch lights flickering outside. Freedom was right there. She ran for it. But when she crossed the living room, she saw something that stopped her dead. All the portraits that had hung on the wall were now on the floor, and every single one had been replaced with a photo of her. Different angles, different times, some from earlier that night, some from inside her house. The sound of laughter rose again, high-pitched, childlike, echoing from all around. Thin silence, the kind that hums in your ears. Sarah sprinted for the door. She made it halfway down the porch steps when the motion sensor lights turned on, and there, standing at the edge of the yard, was a figure in a long black cloak, holding baby Emma in one arm. In the other, a trick-or-treat bucket full of teeth. "Give her back!" Sarah screamed, rushing forward. But as she blinked, the figure was gone. Just gone. The yard was empty, except for a single plastic pumpkin mask lying in the grass. Sirens arrived minutes later. The Millers came home to flashing lights, shattered glass, and no trace of their daughter or the babysitter. Police searched the house for weeks. Every inch of the property, the woods behind it, even the drainage tunnels. Nothing, but there was one piece of evidence they couldn't explain. In the baby's crib, buried beneath the blankets, they found an old baby monitor that wasn't the Miller's model. It looked decades old, scratched, dented, with a brand logo that hadn't existed in years, and it was still turned on. When the detective pressed his ear to it, he heard faint breathing, then a whisper. Trick or treat. The recording was sent to the lab for analysis, but no clear match was found. And here's the part that chills everyone who's ever read the report. The last audio entry, October 31st, 11:59 p.m., captured a voice saying, "Welcome back, Sarah." Months later, new families moved into the house. They said the rooms always smelled faintly of candle wax and something sweet, like rotting pumpkins. Every Halloween, the porch light flickers by itself, and if you turn on the baby monitor after midnight, you'll hear a child humming a lullaby that ends with laughter. No one stays there more than one October. Locals call it the Pumpkin House. But the old Te Huskalit, the one that listens. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching Dead History. Remember, some Halloween stories aren't legends, they're warnings. Never follow the voice that sounds like your own, and never answer when it whispers from the dark. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And let me know down below. Where are you watching from tonight? Stay safe, and keep your lights on this Halloween.